The storm raged outside. The wind howled like a wild animal, pushing the rain sideways, and the sky lit up with flashes of lightning. In the midst of the chaos, a lone human stumbled through the thick mist, struggling to find shelter. The storm was so powerful that it felt like the very earth beneath him was shaking. His name was Sam, and he had been traveling for hours, hoping to find safety from the harsh weather. His feet were sore, and his backpack felt heavier with each step. He was cold, wet, and tired. As he looked around, he saw nothing but the dark, swirling storm. But then, out of nowhere, he saw a cave. A dark opening in the side of the rocky hill stood before him, a promise of shelter. Without a second thought, Sam ran toward it. Inside the cave it was dark, but at least the howling wind couldn't reach him here. Sam collapsed against the cave wall, panting. He took a moment to catch his breath, grateful to be out of the storm. As he looked around, he noticed something strange, a faint glow coming from the back of the cave. Curiosity piqued. Sam stood up slowly, his eyes adjusting to the dim light. As he walked closer to the source of the glow, his heart skipped a beat. There, lying on the ground, was something enormous, a creature he had never seen before. It looked like a dragon, but not like any dragon from Earth stories. Its scales were a deep, shimmering blue, and it had massive wings that were folded against its body. The creature was breathing heavily, its chest rising and falling with each labored breath. The dragon was clearly injured. Its wings were torn, and there were deep cuts along its sides. It was trembling, the cold storm clearly taking a toll on its strength. Sam took a cautious step forward, his heart pounding in his chest. The creature's eyes snapped open, and for a moment, the two of them just stared at each other. Sam's first instinct was to run. After all, what did he know about dragons? They could be dangerous, even deadly. But as he stood frozen, he noticed the dragon's eyes weren't filled with aggression. Instead, there was a strange sadness, a pain that made Sam hesitate. Storm outside raged even harder, and the sound of the wind and thunder filled the cave. Sam swallowed nervously. The dragon was in trouble, and it seemed that Sam was the only one there to help. He took another step closer, not sure if he was making a mistake. But the dragon didn't move. It just continued to lie there, barely. Holding on, Sam took a deep breath. He remembered the supplies he had in his backpack. He had brought cold medicine with him, just in case he got sick in the storm. He wasn't sure if it would help, but he couldn't leave the creature like this. If there was any chance that the dragon could be saved, he had to try. He pulled out the small bottle of cold syrup and slowly approached the dragon's head. Dragon watched him carefully, its eyes filled with confusion but also trust. Sam poured a small amount of syrup into his hand and gently offered it to the dragon, unsure if it would even understand. He wasn't even sure if the dragon could swallow it. But to his surprise, the creature lowered its head slightly, sniffing the syrup. After a long moment, the dragon slowly opened its mouth and took a cautious sip. Sam held his breath, watching closely. The dragon's eyes widened, as if surprised by the taste. Then, after a few more sips, the creature seemed to relax a little, its body no longer trembling as much. The warmth from the syrup seemed to be working. Sam sat back against the wall, exhausted but relieved. The storm outside had not yet stopped, but inside the cave, it felt like the dragon was finally beginning to calm down. Sam didn't know what would happen next, but one thing was for sure: the storm outside wasn't the only thing that had changed tonight. Sam had made a decision, a choice that would change everything. The storm raged on, but inside the cave, it was strangely quiet. The dragon's breath was steadier now, no longer shuddering with the chill. Sam sat across from the creature, watching the blue scales glimmer in the dim light. His hands were still trembling, not from the cold, but from what he had just done. He had fed the dragon, a creature from another world, a medicine meant for humans. Sam had no idea if it would work. but something about the way the dragon had looked at him, so vulnerable, so lost, made him act without thinking. Sam took a slow breath and glanced around the cave. The storm outside was a roaring monster, and he couldn't see the sky or stars. He was trapped here with the dragon, and there was no telling when the storm would end. But that wasn't his biggest concern now. The dragon, the alien creature, was recovering, and Sam had no idea what would happen next. The dragon shifted slightly, letting out a soft growl as it flexed its wings. The sound made Sam jump. He had been so caught up in his own thoughts that he hadn't realized how much the creature had already healed. The dragon's glowing eyes met Sam's again, and this time there was something different. It wasn't just pain in the dragon's gaze, it was something more. Curiosity, appreciation, a hint of something Sam couldn't quite place. Sam leaned forward, cautiously. "How do you feel?" he asked, though he wasn't sure if the dragon would even understand him. But then, to his shock, the dragon's head tilted slightly. It was as if the creature was considering the question. A few moments passed before the dragon opened its mouth. Sam expected a roar or even a growl, but instead, the creature spoke in a low, raspy voice. "Better." Sam froze, his heart racing. The dragon could talk. He never imagined that. The words sank in slowly. Better. Sam felt a strange mix of relief and fear. He had helped the creature, but what did that mean? Was it truly grateful, or did the dragon see Sam as just a means to an end? He wasn't sure what to think, but deep down, he felt a small sense of pride. He had made a choice, and somehow it had worked. The dragon's gaze softened. It moved its body with more ease now, stretching its wings slightly. It was still injured, but it was clearly stronger. The syrup had worked faster than Sam could have imagined. But the real question was, what now? Sam couldn't help but wonder what kind of creature he had just helped. This wasn't a regular animal. This was a being from the stars, something far beyond anything Sam had ever known. And now they were connected. But what did that mean for him, for the future? The dragon gave a low rumbling sound, almost like a purr, but it didn't last long. The creature seemed to study Sam as though waiting for something. Sam didn't know what to do next. He had no experience with dragons or aliens or anything like this. He was just a human, stranded in a cave during a storm, trying to do what was right. As if reading his thoughts, the dragon spoke again. Its voice calm but filled with a strange foreign power. "You saved me." Sam swallowed hard, the weight of the words sinking in. He had helped the dragon, but he didn't know the consequences of his actions. He was no longer just a traveler in a storm. He had become part of something much bigger, and he wasn't sure what that meant for him. Before he could respond, the dragon slowly got to its feet, its wings stretching out in a slow, deliberate movement. It was powerful now, no longer the weak creature it had been when Sam first found it. The storm outside had nothing on the force now standing before Sam. The dragon looked down at him with a piercing gaze. "And now," it said, "you are part of my story." Sam's heart raced. The words hung in the air like a promise. A strange, terrifying promise. And just like that, Sam realized that this was only the beginning. The cave was quieter now. The storm outside had lost its fury, but the silence inside the cave was almost suffocating. Sam kept his eyes on the dragon, still sitting in front of him, its massive body now looking less frail and more imposing. The creature's scales shimmered even in the dim light, reflecting the faint glow of the cave walls. Sam couldn't believe what he was seeing. The dragon, once struggling to breathe and shaking from the cold, was now standing tall, its wings flexing slightly as if testing their strength. It seemed almost alive in a way Sam hadn't seen before. The color in its eyes had shifted from dull and tired to bright, almost glowing, and Sam felt a strange connection to it. He had given the creature cold syrup to ease its discomfort, but now, it looked like something else entirely. The dragon turned its head to look at Sam, its gaze sharp and intense. Sam instinctively backed up a little, his heart beating faster. The creature didn't look threatening, but there was a power in its eyes that made him uneasy. What had he done? He had given it medicine meant for humans, and now this alien dragon was transforming in front of him. A sudden, low rumble broke the silence, and the dragon flexed its wings fully. Sam jumped back in surprise as the dragon's body shimmered. In the dim light, almost as if the creature were absorbing energy from the air itself, the scales across its back pulsed with a soft blue glow, and the dragon shook itself as if waking from a deep sleep. "Is this ... normal?" Sam muttered under his breath, but the words felt hollow in the stillness of the cave. Then, without warning, the dragon let out a roar, a low, powerful sound that shook the cave around them. Sam clutched the edge of the wall to steady himself. He had heard of dragons in stories, but none of them ever did this. The roar faded, and the dragon's wings, now fully spread, fluttered with newfound strength. Sam watched, speechless. It was as though the creature had been reborn. The syrup he had given it had done something beyond his comprehension. What was happening to this dragon? The dragon's body trembled again, but this time it wasn't from weakness. Instead, it was as if the creature was absorbing energy from the cave itself, growing stronger with each passing moment. The air in the cave felt thicker, charged with an unfamiliar energy. Sam slowly approached the dragon, his steps cautious. "Are you ... okay?" he asked, unsure if he was speaking to a creature that even understood him anymore. But the dragon's eyes locked onto his, and for a moment, it almost seemed to smile, though it was more of a knowing grin, one that sent a chill down Sam's spine. "I am more than okay," the dragon's voice rumbled, deeper than before, and it sent a wave of heat through the cave. Sam blinked, realizing that the dragon had spoken again, this time in clear, fluent words. It wasn't just a creature of instinct, it was intelligent, far beyond anything Sam could have imagined. The dragon slowly took a step forward, its massive claws scraping against the rocky ground. Sam stayed still, unsure of what to do. The creature was no longer just a wounded, vulnerable animal. It was something powerful, something he didn't fully understand. And yet, in some strange way, he felt connected to it. "You've awakened something in me," the dragon continued, its voice resonating through the cave. "Something that has been dormant for millennia." Sam's heart raced. He couldn't understand how a simple act of kindness could have triggered such a transformation. He had only wanted to help, but now, the consequences were clear. This wasn't just a healing. This was a change. The dragon's wings stretched wider, casting large shadows against the cave walls. It was as though the dragon was testing its strength. The creature was alive in a way Sam had never imagined, and Sam couldn't shake the feeling that he had just unlocked a power far greater than he was prepared for. The dragon lowered its head, gazing at Sam with a newfound intensity. "You have chosen to help me, but in doing so, you have become part of my journey. A bond has been formed between us, whether you realize it or not." Sam swallowed hard, the weight of the dragon's words sinking in. The bond had been formed. The question now was, what would that bond mean for him? Before Sam could respond, the dragon took one last look at him. It was clear that whatever had just happened, it wasn't just an accident. The dragon had changed, and with it, Sam's life was about to change forever. The air in the cave was thick with tension, as if the very walls were holding their breath. Sam stood motionless, his eyes never leaving the dragon, who was now fully standing, its immense wings spread wide, casting shadows across the cave floor. The creature's body pulsed with a strange, almost hypnotic energy, the glowing scales flickering like distant stars. The storm outside had finally died down, but inside, the cave felt charged with something more powerful than weather. Sam could feel it deep in his bones, a connection between him and the dragon that had formed without warning, without his understanding. And yet, here they were bound together by a simple act of kindness, the dragon's glowing eyes fixed on Sam, and, for a moment, everything went silent. The dragon lowered its head closer to Sam's level, and his heart raced. A sense of awe and fear washed over him. The creature was no longer just an injured being in need of help. It had become something far greater, and Sam was left wondering what that meant for him. Then the dragon spoke, its voice deep, rumbling, and unmistakably intelligent. "You do not understand, human," it said, each word resonating in the cave as if they were the only two beings in the universe. "What you have done has awakened a power beyond your comprehension." Sam's mouth went dry. He had never expected to hear a dragon speak. He didn't know if he should be relieved, terrified, or both. The dragon continued, its tone calm but filled with an ancient wisdom. "I am not just any dragon. I am a guardian, one of the last of my kind. My species was created to protect and to guard the balance of worlds. But for centuries we have been forgotten, our power sealed away. Until now." Sam's mind was racing. Guardian? Protected balance of worlds? This was not what he had expected when he decided to help the creature. But the words kept coming, each one heavier than the last. "You see," the dragon's voice softened, "there is a force, a darkness, that threatens the worlds I protect. It is ancient, and it is relentless. But for years I have been too weak to fight it. That is why I needed help." The dragon looked at Sam, and in that gaze, Sam could feel the weight of an entire universe pressing down on him. "When you gave me that syrup, you didn't just heal me. You unlocked a part of me that had been dormant for centuries. You made me stronger." Sam took a step back, his thoughts racing. A guardian, a protector of worlds. How could a simple human like him have any part in this? But why me? Sam managed to say, his voice hoarse, "Why did you need me?" The dragon's eyes darkened, and for a moment, the air seemed to grow colder. "Because you, Sam, are the key. You have something within you that I need. The kindness you showed me, the connection we share it, has opened a door. You have a power that you do not even know about, but together, we can stop the darkness that is coming." Sam's mind spun. This wasn't just about helping a creature in distress. It was about something much bigger, something that could change everything. He had thought he was just saving an alien dragon. Now he was part of something much more dangerous and important than he could ever have imagined. The dragon slowly took a step closer, its body radiating warmth. "I know this is hard to believe. You are a human, and I am a being from another world, but our fates are now intertwined. I am bound to you as much as you are bound to me." Sam's heart pounded in his chest. "What does that mean? What are you asking me to do?" The dragon's eyes softened, almost as if it were reading Sam's fears. "I am asking you to trust me. There are forces at work, Sam, forces you cannot see. But if we are to stop them, if we are to save the worlds I protect, you must come with me. You must leave this planet and join me on a journey that will test everything you believe." Sam's thoughts were spinning. He had always thought of himself as an ordinary man, just trying to survive in a chaotic world. Now he had become a part of something larger, something that could change not just his life, but the fate of entire worlds. "I know this is a lot to ask," the dragon said, voice gentle but firm. "But we are running out of time. The darkness is already stirring, and it will not stop until it has consumed everything." Sam stood still, staring into the dragon's glowing eyes. It was hard to comprehend everything that was happening. But one thing was clear: his life had changed forever. And whether he was ready or not, he now had a choice to make. With a deep breath, Sam nodded. "I'll go with you," he said, his voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside him. The dragon's eyes sparkled with approval. "Good. Together, we will face what is to come." and together we will save the world. And so, with a single choice, Sam's life as he knew it was over. The journey ahead would be unlike anything he had ever imagined, and the challenges they would face were beyond anything he could comprehend. But one thing was certain: the path he had just chosen would lead him into the unknown, and there was no turning back now. The cave was now quiet, but the air between Sam and the dragon was thick with something unspoken, something powerful. Sam had made his choice. He had trusted the dragon and agreed to join it on a journey that he could barely understand. And yet, as he looked at the creature before him, its wings now fully unfurled, its eyes glowing with an ancient fire, he felt the weight of that decision pressing down on him. The dragon's name was Carex, and it had once been a protector, a guardian, of worlds far beyond Sam's comprehension. But now it was bound to Sam by the simple act of kindness that Sam had extended to it, a kindness that had unlocked something powerful within the dragon. Sam had no idea what he had set in motion, but the gravity of the situation was clear. His life was no longer his own. He was part of something much larger, and the consequences of his actions were only beginning to unfold. Sam stood silently, trying to process what Carex had said. The dragon had spoken of darkness, forces beyond, their control, and a journey that would test everything Sam knew. The stakes were higher than Sam could have imagined, and the reality of what lay ahead was beginning to sink in. Then, without warning, the earth beneath their feet trembled. A low, menacing sound echoed through the cave, of vibration that seemed to come from deep within the planet itself. Sam looked at Carex, his heart racing. The dragon's eyes narrowed, and its wings fluttered in agitation. Something was wrong. Carex turned its head toward the entrance of the cave, its sharp senses alert. Sam followed the dragon's gaze but saw nothing. The storm outside had passed, but now there was an eerie stillness in the air, a stillness that made Sam uneasy. "The darkness is near," Carex said, its voice filled with urgency. "They have sensed my awakening." Sam's stomach clenched. "Who? What are you talking about?" The dragon's gaze was intense. "The ones who are hunting me, the ones who want to see me fall. They are coming." Before Sam could ask any more questions, the ground shook again, stronger this time. A low rumble, like thunder, echoed through the cave, and Sam could feel it deep in his bones. The walls seemed to vibrate with the force of the sound, and then, from the shadows at the cave's entrance, figures began to emerge. They were not human. Their forms were cloaked in shadow, their bodies long and angular, with glowing red eyes that burned with a malevolent light. Sam's breath caught in his throat. These were the beings the dragon had warned him about, an alien force, dark and intent on destroying everything in its path. The figures moved closer, their steps purposeful, their presence almost suffocating. Sam could feel their energy in the air, a coldness that seemed to drain the warmth from the cave. The dragon growled low, a warning sound that made the hairs on the back of Sam's neck stand up. He had no idea who these creatures were or what they wanted, but one thing was clear: they were here for Carex. "You should have never helped me." Carex's voice was filled with a deep sadness, but also a sharp edge of anger. "Now they will come for you too." Sam's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" The creatures stepped closer, their red eyes fixed on Sam. Carex's body tensed, ready for battle, but it was clear that the dragon was not fully recovered. It was still too weak, still too fragile. Sam, on the other hand, was just a human. He had no idea how to fight these dark forces. "We have no choice now," Carex said, its voice softer but firm. "We must fight together, or we will both fall." Sam's heart raced as the creatures closed in. His pulse thudded in his ears, and for the first time in his life, he felt completely out of his depth. This wasn't just about surviving a storm or helping an injured animal. It was about fighting an alien force, something that was beyond anything Sam had ever faced. But Carex had trusted him. The dragon had chosen him, and now Sam had to choose whether to stand by its side or turn and run. There was no turning back now. The creatures moved with lightning speed, and Sam could see the deadly intent in their eyes. They weren't here to negotiate or talk. They were here to end the dragon's life and take whatever power it possessed. Sam could see the fear in Carrick's eyes, something he hadn't seen before. But there was also something else, something that made Sam believe that maybe, just maybe, they stood a chance. Now. Carrick's roared. Its wings spread wide as a burst of light erupted from its body. The power of the dragon collided with the dark creatures in a flash of bright energy, and Sam had only a split second to react. He grabbed whatever he could find, an old stone from the cave floor, and hurled it toward the enemies. The stone didn't do much, but it gave Carrick the moment it needed to attack. The dragon leaped into the air, its massive wings creating a shockwave of energy that sent the dark figures stumbling back. But it wasn't enough. The creatures regrouped, their eyes burning with fury. They weren't going to back down. Sam knew. They needed more than just strength. They needed something to tip the scales, to give them the edge in this battle. But what could he do? He was just a man, caught up in something far beyond his control. As the battle raged on, Sam's thoughts raced. He had chosen to help Carrick, and now the consequences of that kindness were clear. There was no escaping this fight, not now, not ever. He had to make a choice. Fight or die. And Sam wasn't ready to die just yet. The battle raged on, echoing through the cave like a storm of its own. Sam could barely catch his breath between the flashes of light and the sound of the dragon's roars. Every strike Carrick made sent shockwaves through the cave, but the dark figures seemed to grow stronger with each passing moment. They had numbers on their side, and Sam realized that if this fight continued much longer, they wouldn't stand a chance. The dragon's wings fluttered fiercely, each beat sending another blast of energy through the air. But despite its strength, Sam could see it was weakening. Carrick was still recovering from the injuries Sam had helped heal, but now the power was slowly draining from the dragon, like a river running out of water. The creatures in the cave were relentless, their red eyes glinting with malice as they pressed forward. Carrick! Sam shouted, feeling a cold sweat on his brow. We can't keep this up. The dragon growled, but its voice was strained, more fatigued than before. I know, but we cannot lose, not now. Sam's mind raced. He had no weapons, no training, no plan. He was just a regular man caught in the crossfire of something he didn't understand. The promise he had made to Carrick to help protect the dragon was weighing heavily on him. He had no idea how much longer he could keep his resolve, especially when he had no idea what would happen if they failed. But in that moment, the world seemed to slow. Sam caught a glimpse of Carrick's face, the ancient wisdom in its eyes. It wasn't just the power of the dragon that Sam had been drawn to, it was the promise, the responsibility, the bond they had shared since that first act of kindness. Dragon's body trembled as it forced itself into another attack, sending a bolt of energy toward the advancing creatures. Sam watched as the dark figures recoiled, but they were quick to regain their footing, their eyes glowing brighter. Situation was dire. Sam knew that without a major shift, they were doomed. Sam, Carrick's voice came through, steady but full of resolve. We need to end this now. Sam felt a chill run down his spine. What did that mean? What do you mean, end this? He asked, confused as he dodged an incoming strike. Your kindness has unlocked more than just power. Carrick continued, its voice filled with an eerie calm. It has unlocked a bond between us that can turn the tide. But to do so, you must embrace it, Sam. You must trust me completely. The dragon's words echoed in his mind. Trust. How could he trust something so alien? Something so dangerous when his own survival seemed uncertain? But Sam had already made his choice. The moment he had offered the syrup, the moment he had helped the dragon, he had bound himself to this fight. And now, the only thing left to do was to trust Carrick's. There was no turning back. "What do I need to do?" Sam shouted, adrenaline coursing through him. Carrick's lowered its head to Sam's level, eyes blazing with a fierce light. "Let me in," it said simply. "Trust me completely. We are stronger together than apart." Sam didn't hesitate. He closed his eyes, feeling the weight of the dragon's presence around him, like a force he could never have imagined. He could feel it now, the bond, the power, the shared connection between them. It wasn't just about kindness anymore. It was something deeper, something that went beyond the physical, beyond the battle. It was the strength of their union, of their choices, that would save them. Sam reached out, his hand hovering just above Carrick's glowing scales. A surge of warmth flowed from the dragon into him, and Sam felt his own strength growing in response. The darkness surrounding them seemed to fade, not because it was gone, but because Sam and Carrick's had become something else, a force greater than the sum of their parts. With a mighty roar, Carrick spread its wings wide, unleashing a pulse of light, so bright that it blinded Sam for a moment. The dark creatures shrieked in agony, their forms disintegrating under the powerful wave of energy. Sam felt it. He was part of the force now. The dragon's energy, its essence, was inside him. The connection they shared was no longer just mental. It had become a physical bond. He could feel the power coursing through his veins, flowing from Carrick's through him and out into the battle. The dark figures faltered, their attacks faltering in the face of this new strength. But there was more. Sam could feel something inside him, a well of untapped potential, ready to be unleashed. He understood now. This wasn't just about surviving the battle, it was about overcoming the forces that sought to destroy everything. It was about the power of trust, of kindness, and the bond between them. Carrick's roared once more, this time with the full force of their combined power, and the remaining dark figures evaporated into nothingness. The cave fell silent, save for the sound of their breaths, Sam's and Carrick's, echoing in the aftermath. The dragon slowly turned to face Sam, its eyes filled with pride and gratitude. "You did it," Carrick said softly. "You embraced the promise, and together we have become more than what we were alone." Sam couldn't believe what had just happened. The battle was over, but the war was far from it. Carrick's promise was not just a statement of survival, it was a pact of something larger. And now they were ready for the next challenge, whatever it might be. With a deep breath, Sam looked at Carrick's, knowing that the path ahead would be long, but they would face it together. No longer just a human and a dragon, they were bound by trust, by kindness, and by the promise of something greater. And the journey was just beginning. Asterisk. The silence that followed the battle was thick, almost suffocating. The dark creatures were gone, vanquished by the combined force of Sam and Carrick's bond. The cave that had once been a battleground now felt like a sacred space, a place where two forces had united to rewrite their fate. Sam could still feel the lingering warmth of the energy they had unleashed, a power that now flowed through him, as if the very core of the universe had shifted in their favor. Carrick stood before him, its wings tucked against its body, its glowing eyes dimming to a soft, almost peaceful light. The dragon was still massive, its presence overwhelming, but Sam noticed the subtle change. It was no longer just the ancient protector of worlds. It had become something more. A friend, a partner, and perhaps for the first time, a being who could feel hope. "You did it," Carrick said, its voice deep but soft, filled with a sense of relief. "You embraced the power, Sam. We are stronger now, together." Sam, still feeling the thrum of the dragon's power coursing through his veins, nodded slowly. He wasn't the same man who had walked into the storm hours ago. He was changed. He had seen the unimaginable, fought the impossible, and lived to tell the tale. But there was still something he couldn't shake. They had won this battle, but what now? What happens next? Sam asked, his voice uncertain. "We've stopped them," but it doesn't feel like the end. There's more, isn't there? Carrick's eyes locked with his, and for a moment, Sam could see the ancient wisdom behind those glowing eyes that had witnessed the rise and fall of worlds. The dragon's gaze softened. "No," Carrick's replied. "This is just the beginning." The weight of those words hung in the air like a promise and a warning. Sam felt a chill creep up his spine, but he wasn't afraid. Whatever lay ahead, he knew he wasn't alone. Not anymore. "Where do we go from here?" Sam asked, the uncertainty creeping back into his voice. Carrick's eyes glimmered with an intensity Sam had never seen before. "We go to the stars, Sam. The darkness we just faced was only a small part of what is coming. There are forces out there, far beyond your understanding, that seek to destroy everything. And we have only just begun to fight." The weight of Carrick's words hit Sam harder than the dragon could have known. He had thought that by helping Carrick, he would be putting an end to the threat. But it seemed that the true battle was far from over. "We need to prepare," Carrick continued. "We must travel to other worlds, find allies, and unlock the strength we both carry. Only then will we have a chance to stop what's coming." Sam looked up, his eyes meeting Carrick's. The creature who had once been weak, vulnerable, and in need of help was now a symbol of strength, no, a symbol of hope. Together, they had turned the tide of a battle that seemed impossible, and now they were bound for something far bigger. "Are you ready?" Carrick asked, its voice steady, almost expectant. Sam took a deep breath, his heart still pounding with the adrenaline of the fight. But now, the uncertainty was gone. The fear had been replaced by something else, something powerful, something that connected him to the dragon, to the mission ahead. "I'm ready," Sam said, his voice resolute. The dragon nodded slowly, its massive wings fluttering once as if to shake off the remnants of the battle. And then, without another word, Carrick turned toward the cave's entrance, its body radiating with light. As Sam followed the dragon toward the exit, the storm that had once raged outside was now nothing but a memory. The skies were clear, and the stars above seemed brighter than ever before. For the first time in what felt like forever, Sam could see the endless expanse of the universe stretching out before them. Carrick stopped just at the edge of the cave and turned back to Sam, its eyes glowing with pride. "You see," Carrick said softly, "the unbelievable has already happened. You, a human, have crossed the boundary between worlds. You've entered a journey that no one could have predicted. Together, we will face the challenges ahead. But know this, the universe has its own way of revealing the truth. And what you think you know will soon be tested." Sam looked out into the night sky, the weight of Carrick's words settling over him. He didn't know what the future held. He didn't know what battles they would face or what kind of enemies they would encounter. But he understood one thing. He had already crossed a line, and there was no going back. The universe, vast and mysterious, awaited them. And as the first step of their journey into the stars began, Sam knew one thing for certain. The unbelievable was only the beginning.